What's going on, guys? In this video, I am going to reveal a brand that I have stumbled across that is doing $13,000 a day, and it's only really been running a few weeks. So this is Boostiva. It was actually brought to me by a member in my Ad Profits community. So he brought this morning, sent the URL. It intrigued me. I looked at SimilarWeb, as you can see. I looked at the brand, it looks decent. And then I went through the ads library and also through a spy tool. It looks pretty damn good. I want to give you some depth, some detail, and some reasoning behind why I like this, and also why I think it's really important that you look to places like this, to offers, to products, to ads, to brands, to e-com stores, whatever, very similar to this, to get inspiration. This is a men's health supplement. It just so happens that I run a lot of men's health ads for men's health offers, both supplement and digital. So there's a lot of ideas that I can get from what they're doing. I know they're running, I'm not going to say at scale because 13K a day isn't really huge numbers. But seeing as, they've only been around for a month or two, it's pretty impressive, right? To get to that sort of stage into 5 figures a day, and potentially even more. We don't really know exactly how much they're doing. We're just estimating. I'm going to show you everything anyway. But the brand looks good. I like the creative diversity that they're using in their ads library, which I'm going to show you as well. Basically, what I want to show you is I want to walk you through, if I catch something in the wild, and again, I didn't catch this in the wild. It was a member of mine, Ad Profits community, that sort of brought this to my attention. But if I was to catch something like this in the wild, scrolling Facebook or Instagram, I would save it. And I would put it into a swipe folder, and I would take a closer look to see what they're doing. And I think everybody who runs ads should do that. Like, it's pretty self-explanatory as to why. For one, by me engaging with a men's health supplement ad, that means I'm going to be shown more men's health supplement ads, right? That makes sense, common sense. That's just how the algorithm works, which is great because that's the type of offers that I run. So I'm able to see more. So one ad might be a UGC video ad with a really intriguing hook that grabs my attention. I wonder if I can apply that to what I'm doing for this offer over here, right? And then I can look further in. I can see, oh, this advertorial's real smooth. It flows super nice. I can see that they've got, 173,000 visitors a month. If we do the math, again, very loosely, and we say, let's say they pay $1 per click, maybe they're spending 173K a month, right? Maybe. That's decent. It's not huge, but it's decent. Again, what would that average? Maybe 5, 6K a day, which gives us as an average, which indicates that they probably know what they're doing. They're probably profitable to be able to spend that much, right? I'm able to take ideas and inspiration from each step, right? And I don't always look at the ads or the campaigns or the offers that are doing 7 and 8 figures a month. I sometimes think the best brands or the best ideas and inspirations come from these smaller brands that are starting to ramp up, right? So I'm excited to show you this one because I think they're doing a really good job. Again, SimilarWeb, bounce rate, decent, 56%, right? We've got 173,000 visits according to SimilarWeb. Then interesting, on the Google search, this is desktop only that we can see here. This is just a free SimilarWeb extension. This isn't a paid membership. But look at this, top 5 keywords, 3.4 thousand searches for Boostiva. Now, disclaimer, I don't know if there's any other products out there called Boostiva or brands or sites. There might well be, which might also include some of those search terms for that. I really don't know. But let's just say there isn't, and Boostiva is generally for this brand and this supplement. 3,500 searches. Pretty good. That indicates to me that they are doing something right. They are getting awareness out there because there's 3,500 searches, looking for a little bit more information on the offer and the brand. Then try Boostiva, which is actually the domain name for this, 340, and then some misspellings, NAD. So combined, there's around 4,000 search terms or searches per month, or last month, whenever it was, March, which is pretty interesting, right? Then if we go down to the geos real quick, we've got US, kind of explanatory, UK, Brazil, India, Australia, and again, more countries, which I'm not going to look into. But there we go. We can see the bulk is in the US. Okay, so SimilarWeb confirms, all right, they're doing volume or decent volume. Again, we'll use that word real loose because I don't think this is a, super scale or anything like that. But it's an indicator that gives me, allows me to be like, okay, I'll spend a little bit more time looking into this. Now, I really like the aesthetics of the product page. I think it's a real clean brand. I don't know if this is a particular theme. Again, you could look at the page source to see this. I don't know. It kind of feels like they've maybe customized it with AI. It just has a feel of AI around it with the customization. It's really nice. Very clean, very smooth, flows super nice. But again, good testimonials. I played through these before. They're pretty realistic and to the untrained eye. And remembering that the demographic for this offer is going to be 50 plus male who, the majority probably a little bit tech-tarded. So do they know the difference? Can they spot the difference? The way AI is getting, it's really difficult, right? Like even to the trained eye, sometimes isn't it? I don't know. Or the other scenario is people just don't care whether it's AI or not. I don't know which one it is, but these are pretty good. They're quite realistic. Obviously, again, to a trained eye, you can sort of tell. But again, it's just a real nice page. Again, and we're not here for that, by the way, right? We're not here for that. I will just talk about the product a little bit because it does everything. Like this is like the all-in-one men's health supplement because we have a list of ingredients here which you might not be able to see, but there's NAD+, there's resveratrol, there's CoQ10, there's L-arginine, there's L-citrulline, there's saw palmetto, turmeric, KSM66, ashwagandha. So like every single one of those ingredients is used in one form of a men's health product or another. So for instance, saw palmetto is probably the most bought supplement, or I'll use that very loose, the most bought ingredient for prostate. If you were to look through ChatGPT, do some research, or even Google the most purchased products or sold products for prostate health, saw palmetto is up at the top. And I've ran prostate quite a lot. And there's a prostate, I can't remember the stat, but this is going back a few years. It was something like 200 million or even more than that per year spent just on saw palmetto, right? So it's a big market, not huge, but it's big. But you take into account then not only saw palmetto, but then alpha diuretics or alpha blockers, finasteride, Flomax, all of these other treatments and things that are used. Then you have a big old market, right? Probably into the billions of dollars. And then obviously, L-arginine for blood flow, CoQ10, again, testosterone blood flow, semen volume, semen health. Everything in here is really a good ingredient for men's health in particular. So the reason why I mention that is this opens up so many angles because you don't need to they say it here, prostate support. All right, so it helps prostate, brilliant. Improves stamina, brilliant, okay. Boosts blood flow, basically ED. Balanced hormones, basically testosterone, right? And they say boost testosterone here. So 4 main big men's health kind of categories, all in one product. And again, I don't want to really hone in on the product too much. It's pretty good, it's interesting. The reason why I like that is it just opens up these different angles where you could have ads that are, and a lander and a funnel flow that's solely to do with ED. But then you could have another one that's to do with prostate. Same product, but just 2 completely different, I don't even know, they're not diseases, are they? But 2 completely different symptoms, pain points, whatever you want to call it, right? The con of that is it's not hyper specific, right? And sometimes I believe for a product to really stand out, it's sometimes better to be hyper specific. I can't even say it. But hopefully that makes sense, right? Sometimes it's better that this is a prostate product. All of our testimonials are prostate related. Everything it does is to help the prostate. Rather than, yeah, it does prostate, it does this, it does that, it does this. So there's pros and cons to it. Okay, I'll stop nattering about the product. Let's actually dive in to the meat and potatoes. Let me just rearrange my backside in the seat. So the first thing I do after we've looked at SimilarWeb, we confirm that this has good volume, enough to spike our interest. I want to go and have a look at what's going on inside of Ads Library. So we can use the free tool first, right? So I'm grabbing the URL, which is tryboostdiva.shop. And we go over to the Ads Library, and I've already got it open. Here's tryboostdiva.shop, and we are sorting by highest impressions. And we can see the top 5 ads, all launched April 8th, April 8th, April 9th, April 8th, and April 8th. So around 6 or 7 days ago. Now we can also see Dr. Rebecca Henderson, urologist. Dr. Jack Henderson, urologist. Primal Man, Dr. Rebecca, Dr. Rebecca. So 3 different pages in the top 5. Now we can also see that we have 3 of the same ad. Okay, interesting, right? So 3, I can see these are the same ad or same concept, but actually this one here on the right is a different woman. Okay, so this is a black or mixed race woman, whatever, and then this is, I think it looks like a white woman. Then we got a Spanish ad, English, English, Spanish, Spanish. Interesting, right? Just again, so I'm guessing maybe that's I can't see Latin American, I don't know. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. The point is they're running from different pages. They're running English, they're running Spanish, and they're running different concepts, right? 3 different ads. But look, then we've got, so if we just play a couple, this is a Spanish one. So sort of UGC, she sort of looks like she's a nurse. I don't know if she is or not. And again, we're quite zoomed out. Let me zoom in a minute so we can see a little bit, if we can. Maybe we can't. Get a little bit easier on our eyes. Then we got this one. So, okay. So we'll look at the English ones because I don't know how to speak Spanish, so I'm not going to be able to sort of understand exactly the hook and everything else in the Spanish one. But this is a great hook. Now this is, second in terms of, according to Facebook Ad Library, highest impressions. And again, I don't know if you can hear my audio, but you can see the guy sitting down, and then there's like an explosion of obviously what we know to be, the goods, right? So if I can... So you're finishing because your body's afraid of losing your erection. That's the hook. And it's a fucking... Apologies. It's a really good hook, right? You're finishing too fast because your body's scared of losing your erection. So this plays into 2 pain points. Premature ejaculation and then also ED, right? You're prematurely ejaculating because your body thinks you're going to go limp. So you need to just get it out and get it done. It's a really interesting concept, right? Because freaking loads of men suffer from both premature ejaculation and ED. So it plays well into it. It's like a really strong hook. This is why I love spying. This is why I love digging. I don't swipe this, right? I'm not going to rip this. I'm not going to download it and upload it into my own ad account. But what I might do is I might play around with it. I might, get the script of the video. I might then put it into Claude and then really work on the framework, how it flows, the hook, and then the different the different parts of the script, leading them through the story, then into the facts, blah, 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 pain points, etc., and then leading them down the line where you can sort of present the solution. So if I can understand that, and then I can work with Claude to, really make it a stronger script, maybe, you know, try and tweak it to make it unique, etc., and more importantly, make it relevant to my offer. That's exactly what I do, right? This is a really good place and a really good thing to do when you're struggling for ideas for your creative, okay? For your angles, for your scripts, for your images. It really is. Because now I've got an idea. Boom. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that hook. Again, you know, if I wasn't doing this video, I'd probably play the whole video to really understand it. I might even, you know, save it to a folder, download it, and then run it through Gemini or Claude to really try and break it down. Now, let's play this one. Wow. So I don't know if you heard that. Again, I'm not going to repeat everything. I can't actually even remember what it said, but it's pretty explicit. So I would suck this mother hooker to, you know, dry until he cried because he just dropped the secret to her all night long. Boom. But solid hook. Maybe you want to bleep that out. That might run a risk, but they, you know, for all we know, they might be cloaking the sound. So there's tools out there that can disguise the audio. So, you know, the Meta's AI system, when you publish the ad, is playing a completely different audio track. But to the user who sees it inside of Facebook, it's what we've just heard there. Because I would say that might be a touch aggressive, but who knows? But, you know, then we go into this guy talking on the microphone, obviously addressing a crowd or whatever. Is he in a school, university? I'm not too sure. But interesting concept and angle, right? And again, we see that out of the 5 top ads on Ads Library, 3 of them are this guy. This is a Spanish version, and then we've lost one because we've zoomed in. But I'm just going to stick to these 4 that we see in a row. Then we go down. Oh, here it is. Here now. Spanish as well. Different lady. This one, I love that image, by the way. That's a fantastic image. Let's touch on that in a second. But let's just look at this, because these types of ads have been absolutely crushing, right? You'll have seen them all over X if you're on X. You know, animation ads. So if we play this.
Weeks after my wife cheated on me, my member down there stopped working. When I tried dating, I couldn't maintain a single relationship. Are you not attracted to?
So a strawberry banana. So it's like more of a story. These are really good for top of funnel. So, and you know, you could argue so is this one as well. I like it. Now, just one thing I'm noticing as we're scrolling, and again, we haven't been too far, but everything's same ad copy, apart from Spanish translated. So we have this. We haven't looked at any landers. Then we've got Primal Men. So that was the brands page, Boostiva. Now we look at Primal Men. Same ad copy, but with an image, and it looks to be quite a, you know, product-aware sort of image. Then we have this one over here. This is the one that caught my attention. So this one, I tell my patients. So again, from the doctor's position, quite long form copy. I don't really like this copy at all. It's quite blocky. I don't really like blocky. But what I can see is I'm seeing CoQ10 a lot. Right, so I'm seeing a mention of CoQ10. I now know the angle. Like, this is talking about that specific ingredient, which again is sperm health, semen volume, etc., etc. So we can see that. So, like, the reason why I know that is because I've ran male fertility offers before. And that's a big ingredient for that sort of market. So declining sperm numbers we can see up there. It's a really good ingredient, to be fair. So it kind of looks like maybe as well what they're doing, as well as running this sort of generic, broad, benefit-driven copy with different creatives, they're also diving into specific ingredient copy as well, right? And again, they label everything else, but like the whole point of this copy is really going heavy on the CoQ10. I can see NAD plus as well, but I don't see any other mention of other ingredients. And then they go to, I mean, this is a long copy. They go to the this. This is a great image. It's going to capture a lot of attention, probably get a high click-through rate. And we see it again down here. Same copy as well. And I believe the same page. Dr. Rebecca. Yeah, Dr. Rebecca. So same page, duplicated ad. Then we got more videos. Like, I could literally sit here, because if we zoom back out, I don't want to, drag you through all these videos. But if we zoom back out real quick, if I can find my my cursor, I'm going to take you down, right? Look, five ads per row. We saw up at the top there's 450 active ads on this, that are driving traffic to tryboostever.shop. Sarah Hudson. And then we've got females, right? So we've got attractive women. Michael Crawford, another page. Excuse me. Okay. So just a ton of different concepts, angles, formats. I can see like a sort of animated doctor format, UGC style, maybe even testimonial. Here's how to reverse natural ED naturally. By the way, every single one of these ads so far is AI. Like literally all you need to do as a solo affiliate, solo ecom guy, or if you've got a small team, a VA, you just need something like Higgsfield, then generate Nano Banana, Pro images based on characters or animations or different scenes, and then just animate those scenes in Kling 3.0. That's literally the easiest way to build high quality videos, right? Kling has become pretty good at lip syncing as well, and you can tidy that up. You could if you wanted to tidy it up in something like HeyGen, if you wanted to, increase the amount of tools and costs that you have. Sometimes Kling can do the job. But the point is, it's a lot easier than what people think to do this. And again, in my opinion, when you do creatives yourself, you are your biggest critic, right? I could do a video and I think it's terrible. It looks crap. The quality's rubbish. The editing's rubbish. The voiceover's rubbish. The background music's rubbish. The animated effects are rubbish. But in reality, I run that ad and it's my best performing ad. The point is, don't get too strung up on perfecting the creative. Right? As long as the message is there, I think that's the most important aspect, right? As long as the message or the creative portrays the message clearly, that's all that matters. And what is the message? Well, the message is, for this particular offer, shrink your prostate, get hard again, don't be premature, like pick your poison, right? There's lots of different messages within this product. But obviously the way the creative is then positioned is you don't just dive straight in. You take them down the line, right? Which is why we have hooks, and then we have pain points and the story behind it. And then we have the solution and the results from the solution, and then the call to action, if we were to try and break down a very simple creative. But I mean, there is a ton. And we've got interesting ones like this, right? Like a ultrasound sort of image. And then a more story-based primary text. If your husband is quit... So this is alcohol-related, right? Cleaned up his diet and has been taking supplements for a month. I love that. This is really, really cool. So an alcohol-related... again, I'm not saying the copy's great. I really don't like the big blocks of text. I also can see that this is clearly, AI, because they've got the M dashes, but so is everyone's right now, right? But I would like to break this up a little more. And the fact that they haven't really spent time doing that, it doesn't really matter at all. Same copy, right? Maybe slightly different because there's a lot less in this opening sort of hook of the primary text. So maybe slightly different, a lot longer for sure. And then like an emergency room, right? I believe. So I'm sure within that copy relates to that image used.
I would suck this motherfucker all night long because he just dropped the secret to fucking me all.
So we're seeing these attractive women, the attractive AI women UGC style creatives are going very heavy on like I don't know if you can see it because we've zoomed out again, but there's a thumbnail of a guy addressing a crowd again. And the hook of this attractive woman, low cut top, cleavage is, I would do something to this mother hooker all night long because he's dropped the secret to this, right? So it's a really interesting hook, obviously quite engaging to those demographic that would be interested in this product or offer. All right, we're not going to spend too much long, I promise. More different concepts. Again, emergency room concepts, Spanish ads. But I mean, look, like, how many ads are we in now? Like, we must be into, 50 plus to 100 ads. Looks like a car wreck.
You want to be driving with a stock engine or an engine with 500 horsepower.
Okay, interesting. Now, animations again.
Every man not to take this capsule before sex.
Fa.
It doesn't work like Viagra.
Okay, just super interesting, like, hooks, right? Again, I'm not saying this is anything, I'm acting like this is mind-blowing. It's not. The point why I'm acting, like, because I want you to get excited. I know there's people on this channel that are starting out and maybe in the beginning stages of their journey. And this is really for you guys, right? There is an abundance of ads out there. And sometimes you don't need a paid spy tool to really have to find these winning ads, right? We're doing this in Ads Library. And we can see we literally have hundreds of ads that we can look at, that we can dissect, that we can break down into like a very clear framework using AI, and then rebuild, making it better, maybe making the hook stronger, maybe making it flow into more pain points or go harder on a specific pain point, right? I'm just seeing here this image ad as well. All my Viagra in the trash. Now, and this has been, I think, for most healthcare niches or health niches, this has been such a massive, massive angle. Like throwing my blood sugar meds in the trash, throwing my Ozempic in the trash, throwing my, common prescribed solution in the trash because of this natural supplement, right? All right, so enough about the ads library. I mean, go here yourself if you're in men's health, and even if you're not, but you're in health in general, you're running to supplements or even digital offers, because there's some bangers in here, I assure you. Like, and even though this page isn't scaling to hundreds of thousands of dollars a day, that's a good thing, because I believe they've got enough variety and enough creative diversity to be able to push even further than where they are now. And so once they get to 6 figures a day, everyone's going to rip them. They're going to be over all of the spy tools. There's going to be people doing rips on them in X and sharing all their ads. And then the angles become less because then everyone's using them, right? And I'm not saying people aren't already running these angles, because they 100% are. But I just like the creative concepts. I think this is a good page to study off. It's not crushing, which, again, like I said, isn't always a bad thing. As long as we can establish that they know what they're doing, as long as we can establish that these ads could work. And I really do believe that these ads can work. I've seen, I've been running ads in this space in men's health, in ED, prostate, male enhancement for years and years. These ads will work for sure. Anyway, let's jump into another tool now. So another tool that I love to use when I find this or when I go on a spy is brand search. And this is really, I guess, catered towards e-com. But like we've just seen, this can be applied to any kind of niche. And whether you're running ClickBank VSLs or e-com on GiddyUp or your own offers or digital offers or wherever, you can use this tool. And the reason why I like it so much is what we can do is we can go to Boostiva, right? And we can open this up. And sometimes, again, we can see the European ad spend, but we can see the lander, right? But also we can generate the script. So if we go back here real quick, how I've got stacked up is by impressions, top rank by impressions. Now, this isn't all active ads. This is all ads that have been on the pages or have Boostiva in the keyword, right? So I've got Boostiva as a keyword in the search. That's the only filter that I've got. And then I'm sorting by impressions. And you can see lots of different ads, Spanish ads, animation ads, podcast ads, direct ads, UGC ads with, again, large, breasted ladies, we'll call them. Penile implant. This is a really good thumbnail. It's an image, or is it a video? This is a different page as well. Same name as the product. Very interesting. Boostiva NAD+. I mean, just an abundance of ads. Blue pill on the tongue, banana in between his legs, right? Just, an abundance. Like, you cannot say you're not sure what creative to whip up. You don't have any ideas. When you can either go through ads library, you can go through the like, a really good idea, by the way, if you cannot afford, paid spy tools, go to Google, search, let's just say you're in the prostate niche, search, best prostate supplements, and then go and visit every single one in the top 10 or 20 Google pages, right? Visit the Google sponsored posts, visit the organic posts, and then go back to Facebook and scroll your feed and just see what you get targeted with, right? The more you engage with your niche, the more you're going to get shown the ads. The more chance you've got of finding brands like this that are fairly new, that are on their way to scaling into mid-5 and maybe even 6-figure days, but you catch it early. That's the point. We don't want to catch brands when they're doing 7 figures a day, because although there's still a lot to learn, for sure, everybody's copying off that brand. And then our offer, our ads, our creatives, our angles aren't that unique, right? What we want to do is we want to try and catch these brands early before they really pop off. Okay, so there's a little bit of risk there because we're not, completely guaranteed that this brand is going to pop off. But I feel like, they've got the foundations for it. All right, another really good use of this tool. Watch this. So we go to Boostiva, we click the page and we say Analyze Brand. And boom, we see this. $13,000 a day, just under. So now we have a little confirmation, right? Okay, we know last month they had 174,000 visits. If we, say that's $1 per visitor, again, this is just making it up and we're just assuming and estimating. I'm not saying this is, God's, but let's just say $1 per visitor. So we say 174K in spend last month. And then let's just say, 13K a day, which my maths is absolutely horrendous. So let's see where my calculator is. So 13,000 times, wow, that's not times, is it? Times 30, 390K. So they spend 174,000, 390K. That's complete, just me making it up, obviously based off what we see. And you can see, the average or the estimate that the brand search is saying is 274 to 500K, just under. Well, if we base off that, no matter what, again, we've got COGS to take out of that, refunds, etc., etc. But we can safely say, I think, that they are probably at a profit here. The fact that they're continuing to run, the fact that they've invested so much time and probably money into that much creative and variations. We're looking at 450 different active ads, let alone all the ads that maybe aren't active. I looked earlier today, it said 1,500 ads. I don't know if I removed the active, but that, just that alone can indicate that they're probably profitable, right? You would not be carrying on spending that amount with that amount of active ads if you were consistently negative, unless you were playing a real long-term game and you had, infinite money in the bank. But there we go, right? So we haven't looked at landers. That's one thing we've not looked at. And I'm just looking at the time. We're 34 minutes in. We shall have a quick look. So let's look while we're in here. Ideally, I would go through ads library as well and see what is actually active right now, where the landers are. But we'll just make use of this. Oh, we can't because it's on a different tier. So let's actually go into the ads library. Let's go back to the top. Move my head out of the way. And let's just have a quick look. If we're going direct to product page, are we going to advertorial page? Where are we going? That's the product page that we direct to product there. Let's see if we can find some other landers. Same, that's going to the product page. Oh, that came up weird. thought it was just a glitch in it loading then. Come on, we want to see some different landers. Okay, so we're still looking at, I know they've been running advertorials because I've got some before. And I think I saw a reasons listicle as well. But these ones all up at the top are going direct to product page. Let's have a scroll down. Let's see if we can try and find something that's not. Just trying to look through different ads that we could maybe gauge as being... Okay, this might be one. I can see it's going to gem pages or a page. Okay, boom, advertorial. So here we go, right? So we've got, most of the ads we looked at there are going direct to product page. Nothing wrong with that. But, what's the conversion rate, right? Whereas going to an advertorial will help boost that conversion rate, obviously, because they're pre-framed. However, not as many people are going to make it through the advertorial to the product page. But we can see like a nice little Amazon style bar on the right, top health research, just a very typical e-com advertorial, right? These are quite common. It's nice, it's decent, it looks good, it flows well. Let's go up here. Common solutions, Viagra, different supplements, Joy Mode supplement, Nugenics. So some, common supplements that, most men have either seen or maybe even tried. And obviously then positioning their supplement as the holy grail, right? Again, I'm not studying it. Again, if you want to study it, then feel free. Let's go back, see if we can catch another style of page. Just going to hover over the shop nows if I can. That's the real reason nothing has worked. I feel like that's what we just looked at. Let's go into the product page, product page, product page. The advertorial we just looked at. Advertorial. Right, we'll just have a little skim. Just a couple more. Again, I don't want to keep you watching me just hovering over shit for the sake of it. What's that one going to? The product page. Product page. We get the picture, right? There's a lot going to the product page. Let's break open one of these and have a little look. Product page. All right. I'm sure they've got more landers. In fact, I'd probably bet I'd bet some money that they do, but we ain't finding them. And I obviously you could spend more time going through this to find them. For the sake of the video, we'll wrap it up. But I hope this gives just an insight. Again, I'm not saying these are crushing and everyone needs to study off these guys. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that keep your eyes open. Okay? And when you see something that interests you, engage with it. Save it. Check it out later. Save it to a folder. Facebook and Instagram make it super easy. You can bookmark ads. You can save them to a specific folder or file within your profile. And then you can go back later, right? I always, when I see something, I screenshot it. I save it to my folder if I can. And then I open up the link. And I then open that link into Chrome, right, on my mobile. And then I'll just save it in a Chrome tab for later. So I can check out the lander, see the flow, I screenshotted it, I can revisit the page, I can find it in my swipe inside of Facebook or Instagram. And obviously now with brand search, Foreplay, Get Hooked, Atria, whatever, they all have Chrome extensions that you can, if you're on your desktop, you can just save straight into your swipe file inside of those paid spy tools. But again, the whole point is, if you see something, if you are running a particular offer, if you are in a specific niche, you should be engaging with every single ad that you see in that niche because you are going to get served more ads to do with that niche. And you always want to see what other people are doing. Even if you are already crushing, you still want to see what everyone else is doing. You know, what angles are they running? What are they testing? How are they positioning their format of ad? What are their hooks that are they using? You know, what are they doing with their landers? Is it a quiz funnel? Is it advertorial? What are they doing with the advertorial? Is it a listicle? Then where are they going? Are they going straight to PDP? Are they putting it into a quiz? What are they doing, right? Because then you can also see, well, if they're running volume, there's probably a very, very, very likely chance that what they're doing might be working, right? So then, and again, you can cross-reference that for free with just the SimilarWeb free Chrome extension, and you can see how much volume they're doing, or again, roughly with a grain of salt. But I really like this because, again, I can then go through these, you know, ads, and I can say, okay, this one I like this a lot. I think it would fit really well. I can then transcribe it. I can go through the visuals with Claude or Gemini, break down the framework of the ad, and then try and make it even better. You know, try and take that angle and make it even better for my product, for my offer. And some of the best ads that you've ever seen, the biggest brands that you've ever seen, did exactly this. They took winning ads and they just made them suit their own offer, right? They just rewrote them for their own offer. And again, caveat, I'm not saying these are winning ads, but I also like to go after the ads that I think are maybe bubbling, soon to be a winning ad, right? And I think that's what we see on this page. I think there's some really good ads, good concepts. Again, I'm not saying it's the best. I'm not saying that these are crushing, but I think that they have the potential to scale up on this brand. All right, let's wrap it up there. Hopefully you got some value. Hopefully it gives you some insight. And if you do want to see more, okay, if you want more access to the stuff that we're doing, the full system, the ad profits flow, I do have a free community open right now called Blue Ocean Affiliates. You can jump in there. It's on School. The link's below. You can just jump straight in. There's a free course in there. We're going to do a free call every week. And I am going to be dropping free daily videos as well inside of that community. So if you're interested in that, just click the link below. It's going to be in the description. Jump in and I shall see you in there. Cheers, guys.